Okay, let's talk about the code where you have to install this AFCI, and also I'm going to show you how to connect them and how it's going to protect you. So basically 2110.12, it says that it have to be, basically if you read all this, it says that it have to be installed everywhere except in the bathroom and in the garage. I'm going to see maybe a few problems with this type of things. I'll show you anyway. I found a video with this machine that it show you, you know, when you use just a regular breaker and when you use a breaker with the arc fault. So this machine, it will show you some spark here, so that way you can see how this machine works. So I'll show you this later. So for instance, let's say that if you have a garage and you have to use the welder, you know, I think it will be okay because you're not going to have this. If you have this type of protection and you have a welder, most likely you're not going to be able to weld. And if you are outside of the house and you have that protection, because you know it's not the bathroom, it's not the garage, most likely you're going to have that protection, and they may work. Also, over time you have to make sure to reread it, because over time they change it, so most likely in the future the whole house will have to have that protection. So as you can see here, it looks like the GFCI, but is with the arc protection. Also, you can get both. So if you want to buy, you know, the one with the GFCI and with the arc protection, you can see you can get both at the same time. Also, I'll show you now, so the way you can see. So the problem, if you don't have the arc protection, you're going to have this type of issue. For instance, here, maybe you have too much consumption, or sometimes it could be that maybe the screw is not tight enough. Sometimes I've seen that, and then you're going to have this issue. So by having the arc protection, you know, you're not going to have this issue, because it will melt the cable, it will melt everything, as you can see here. Also, I'll show you here in the electrical panel. Sometimes it could happen the same thing. So if sometimes someone, you know, install new wiring, maybe you have too much consumption or a bigger breaker. It could be that as well. Let's say that the wiring is for 15 amps and you have a 20 amp breaker, you know, you may have that issue. Also, again, if the cable is not, or the wire in this case is not tight enough, you may have this type of problems. So if you see here, I'll show you. If you see here, for instance, you have the breaker, and you can have both. You can have the arc fault protection and you can have the ground fault protection. So basically, the arc fault protection works by detecting the high frequency noise on a circuit generated by arcing. So that is, for instance, also if you have, for instance, some brush motor, it could cause the breaker to trip as well. So I'll show you in a little bit. Here I have this is a power tool, but if you have a motor, you know, that is a brush, you're going to have the same issue. So as you can see, you see the arcing inside of the motor. So if you have maybe a vacuum cleaner or something like that, you're going to have the same problem if you're connecting it, if you're plugged this in a protected, you know, with the arc fault protection. For instance, this is the motor inside. Here is where you have the carbons or the connectors here. So this, by rotating, it will produce the spark I just showed you. As you can see here, like I was telling you before, you see you have the red button and the black button. I prefer those, so that way you know which one is the reset and which one is the test. For instance, here we have the test and here we have the reset. I don't like this type of protections that or electrical outlet, you know, that the buttons both are the same, because the problem that you're going to see here, you know, you have the letters are white and the background is white, you're not going to be able to read anything. Here, for instance, if you see in this case, we have the AFCI and we have the GFCI, or everything in one product. So that is a good thing. It costs a little bit more, but if you have to have it, it depends on your state, your country, you know, whatever. Just read the code book and you will see where you have to install these type of things. But if you're here in US, most likely in the future you will have to install these everywhere. instead of installing this, I would prefer, installing the breakers, like I was talking before, because with the breakers, you have everything in one place. I had calls where people call me and say, hey, yeah, I don't know, I don't have power or anything like that, and then you have to go, room by room and check the GFCI or the AFCI. Maybe it's tripped, and you just push a button and everything start working again. But if you tell the people, okay, go to the electrical panel, check everything, and that's it. If you can have everything in one place, I think it will be better, at least for regular people, so that way they don't know, they don't have to go in each room. Also, sometimes they don't know where every GFCI or AFCI is, so that way you can have everything centralized in one place, and to me it would be much better. Here you're going to see, for instance, this type of technology is going to protect you, for a serious arc fault and a parallel fault. So let's say parallel, if you have a screw that is touching both, or maybe the cable is very close or something like that, you're going to have the protection. And here, like I said before, maybe if you have the screw on in the electrical panel, in the breaker box, or maybe in the electrical outlet, maybe it's not tight enough. Maybe you have this arcing like you see here, or maybe the electrical outlet is wear out, and then it will spark because the plug is kind of loose. It depending on the electrical panel that you may have, but when you have the breaker, for instance, you're going to have the pigtail that have to go to the neutral, and the rest, it will be like the rest of the breaker. So usually you're going to have one that is for the hot one, and the other is for the neutral, as you can see here. Okay, as you can see here, we have a breaker. So basically you have the core of the wire goes to the neutral bar that you see here, and you have another wire that goes to the neutral in the electrical outlet, and the black one is the hot one, goes to the outlet. As you can see here, it's very easy to install. So now I'm going to, the only thing that you have to see is when you have the breaker, you have all the wires, usually this is easy to identify. The other one, it might be along the connected in along the other side in the where you have the neutral bar. So basically you have a big bar like this, and you may have so many, so you will have to grab it from the top and try to find it and connect it this way. So when you have this electrical outlet, the connection, it works the same way as the GFCI. So as you can see here in the back, you have the line. So basically where you have the gold screw, you are going to connect the hot one, and in the other side where you have the silver screw, as you can see here, silver, the other is gold. So the silver, you're going to have the neutral. And also here on the back, you will say white. So white, it goes here, and here will go the black one in the gold one, and the load. So that way you can have everything in daisy chain. You're going to have the same thing. So white here, black here, and that's it. So basically that is how you can connect it. So as you can see here in this demo, we have the regular breaker, as you can see, and here we have the breaker with the arc protection. So here basically we have the selector, we're going to use this, and here we're going to produce an arc, so that way you can see the problem. Also we have a load, let's say 5 amps, so that way you can see the problem here. So here with the machine, you're going to make a distance between the two metal parts, so that way you can see, and you see you have the consumption here, and the breaker didn't trip because it's using this that I'm showing you right now. And later the lady will do the same thing, and is going to select the other one like I showed you before, and she's going to produce the arc, as you can see, and the breaker just tripped. So I'll show you again. As you can see, as soon there is an arc, this breaker trip, and this is how it works. So basically, like I said, it's going to prevent fire, also overheating things. That's it. So hopefully this video was useful. If you have any question, please let me know in the section below. Also, if you want to go to my YouTube channel and you want to keep learning about different things, I'll show you in my playlist, so the way you can see everything. Okay, so if you go GABA Business, and you go here where it says playlist, and then you have all my classes on different topics. So thank you for watching, and see you next time.